Oh, no. Oh, no. That's cool.
Or something, but there's thing, I gotta try and see. A lot of those you are, but that's how you try. I heard something just that's good. You got to try to share it. Alright, well, I guess we get started. Hi folks, we're about to get started. If I could just have your attention, please. Thank you so much. Once Mike takes a seat, we'll get the meeting started. I'm kidding. All right, so thank you all for joining and welcome. I just kind of wanted to go over introductions. So if we could kind of go around the room, we'll start over here with management. My name is Nikki Patton, the Director of Parks and Recreation.
Danny Mann, Supervisor of Parks and Rec.
Catherine Fiala, I'm over in Elton Village. I'm Fernanda Bibucci, this is my first meeting here.
Kevin Wamsley, it's also my first meeting.
Stephanie Bengals, first meeting.
I'm Mike Moda. This is my second season.
Colin Beck, this is my first as well, so.
Welcome.
All right, I guess I'm the incumbent. I got 3.
Yes. So what we're going to do first is start with owner comments before we go through the agenda. I know we have some folks that are interested in speaking on their behalf. So whoever would like to go first, you can stand up first at least. So Claire, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll
There
take
you
it. You want me to stand up?
Yeah, you can stand on up if you like. You have 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay,
Yeah.
then I might not finish. So I'm really focused on the tennis courts. My name is Claire Lagoon, I'm at 517 Long Meadow. We just have 5 tennis courts in town, and that is really not sufficient for resident play, especially given the agreements that we've already made for 20-some years with Advantage Tennis, as well as some of the behaviors that we're tolerating from this vendor from time to time, even if it's inadvertent. I'm just going to talk about 7 issues that have happened that I've seen and the people I've played with have seen. Number 1, we have terrible overcrowding downtown on the nights that Star Island resort customers are allowed in. Apparently we allowed some kind of change in the contract, so we have dozens and dozens of families and siblings and kids coming in and playing on the tennis courts, and it's insane on those nights. If you're a regular resident behind, you're gonna have kids and siblings running across your court. You're gonna have people with their dogs pooping on the grass because they don't know the rules, people without parking decals. That's insane, and it's all prime time. Number 2, several times that I've been there, let alone other folks that are here for tennis, Advantage has several times been seen to be giving pickleball lessons in the court at all different times during their court time. Coaches from around this area, including very recently, some coaches from Hunters Creek showed up at a time where it was not marked that Advantage was playing and had the court reserved, and they were doing private lessons. But when asked, they said, yeah, we're from Advantage. We've never seen them before. One morning I was there at 7:30, a high school or a college coach, I wasn't sure what, came up with a busload of young women. They all got out on the court and they were all playing on courts 4 and 5 for over an hour. And I didn't know what that was. There was nothing on the agenda that day that said that a team was playing there. Pickleball is frequently showing up. Pickleballers are frequently showing up and just playing on the courts, even though there are signs there that say no pickleball. I do think it's worth talking about pickleball use on tennis courts. It can damage tennis courts in several ways, including surface damage and net damage, and we don't really have any contingencies set aside to fix those nets or to fix the surface. So that's a problem. And then finally, the later slot that we've been given as a women's tennis group, I mean, it's great that we have a time slot allowed for the women who want to play. It's a great community event. But 8:30 has tended to cause some women to drop out because of work and the excessive heat. Even in winter, the excessive heat is harder for some of the older women that play. We have women in their 70s, mid-70s, and 80s, and 8:30 just starts to get really hot. And I would request that we revisit the concept of allowing us to play at 7 or 7:30, even with noise checks to make sure that everybody's been quiet so the neighbors aren't bothered. Because the tennis courts do open at 7, and we're not a bunch of really rowdy ladies. And then finally, last comment, as a member of the Celebration Tennis Committee, I would just like to request anybody on this committee who is a member of the pickleball community or the tennis community.
I'm terribly sorry, but
Yeah, if you're a member of that community, please recuse yourself from discussion and voting because that could be a potential conflict of interest.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Claire, and that's actually one of our agenda items for the ladies open play.
All I need for each one of my honest, and I'm gonna relinquish my time. There's, that's it,
I don't need it, please go.
then I'm done.
Very kind.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay.
Okay. I'll go. Sarah Worth, 2303 Celebration Boulevard. I had some comments related to two of the agenda items. One was the homeowner-initiated events and amenity center discussion. The other one is specific to the Island Village meet and greet, the facility request. My position is encouraging and supporting homeowner-initiated events that are inclusive is wonderful. Okay, if they're inclusive, completely support. Some examples of those would be Celia's Nev parades and Lisa's book exchange that she does. Everyone is invited, everyone is included. I believe she gets a fee waiver for the room for the book exchange. All are welcome, okay? The Ivy meet and greet applications being organized for homeowners. It is actually, what I learned, literally homeowners, okay? So if you are a renter, you are not invited unless, of course, there's not enough demand in their space for the, in the room. Now, it's a meet and greet. People are flowing in and out. When there's no line outside, like in the club when we were all were young trying to get in. It's not that situation, okay? And then this homeowner's invitation, then maybe flyers will be distributed. But the flyer, these golden tickets, aren't distributed to everyone on the block. It's this house, maybe this house, not this house, not this house, this house, this house. So it's very interesting how it is. And there is a flyer posted in the amenity center. However, people that RSVP for that, they're still checked against their address to find out whether or not they're owner, because the owner has a priority. Whereas we don't have a social hierarchy in Celebration, thank God. It's basically just resident, non-resident. It's not like for the Easter egg hunt, the owners get to go for the first 2 hours and the renters get to go back clean up on the last half hour. We don't do that in Celebration. It's resident, non-resident. And the person should not be able to redefine what a resident is. Okay, the comment is, our residents are people who buy. No, sir. Residents, that's not the definition of a resident. A resident is defined by Celebration itself in terms of someone who doesn't have short-term rental and no Airbnbs. With regard to the fee waiver, I know I'm beeping, she was beeping too, so I'm going to go a little bit longer. There is community support from that Facebook group for people to crowdfund it. Now, if people want to get $5, whatever it may be, that's great. No one's going to get a Venmo request. It's fine. I have a credit card down for it. It's inclusive. That's the only issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna come over here so people don't have to twist their necks. Good evening, my name is Jose Virginia. I live in 1845 Beach Street, Rhode Island Village. I'm here to comment on 2 items in the agenda. The first one is item number 5, the tennis court backboard install.
That's good.
I have no questions, don't have to be answered, so that's fine, just take them with. Maintenance of that thing, right, effects. Can you imagine people just playing soccer, bouncing balls, trying to skate over the backboard? Like, I can just imagine all sorts of crazy stuff going on with that backboard or whatever. So, I mean, I have concerns with this. Then the next one is the temporary pickleball location. Like Claire said already, I mean, like the tennis courts are really crowded. I don't know if those for pickleball, I'm assuming they are, because there's no other, surface to play. But so you're aware, the actual pickleball club of Celebration that met in Georgetown, it's composed of non-residents. I mean, like 50% of those people are non-residents. My wife and I played there for months, right? And we went there to play once in a while. Like 80% of the people will be non-residents playing there. Not only that, they had access to the courts at Georgetown because they had a code, right? So, I mean, like, if I don't know how many courts you're deciding to allocate for this, but I mean, once we do one, people are gonna know they can play pickleball anywhere, right? Imagine this, I mean, I play golf, right? Then I can go to the soccer fields, or I can go to the baseball field with my golf clubs and practice my swing there, and no one can say anything. Because you're opening courts, you're opening facilities to sports that were not designed for, right? I can go to the pool and do whatever, ride my electric car. I mean, like, it doesn't, right? I mean, like, this is only pickleball. Now, people are gonna come in and play padel, people are gonna come and play weird paddle sports, right? There were a group of 4 men, 3 or 4 months ago, Dora, you were there. They were playing a sport that I've never seen. It's a tennis ball with a solid paddle, and they were hitting it really hard, right? Harder than any tennis ball can go, and faster than any tennis ball. So this brings like safety concerns, right? And by the way, I counted 22 cars without a sticker just on this side of the road. Like 90% of the parking lots were occupied by non-sticker cars, right? I had to park all the way down in the roundabout, like right next to your car, right? So, and then, well, we're just escalating this issue with the tennis courts, right? Availability, right? By adding more pressure to the availability of the tennis courts. We're not doing anything to prevent, people from getting in that are not residents. We've asked for enclosure of the courts, control access, nothing is happening. Even Marcus is doing a great job carding people, but that's not sufficient. He can't be there all the time, and we understand that, right? That's not reasonable, right? So we need other measures, and if you are going to consider to escalate the pressure upon the courts, you need to consider mitigation measures as well, right? Close the court, increase the vigilance. I mean, I don't know, other measures, right? But this cannot be a measure in itself just to allow pickleball playing, because again, we're just being, pressured into less court time, right? Tennis courts are only for tennis playing. They were designed, are meant to be used for tennis playing. The nets, the surfaces, the fencing, everything is designed for tennis playing, right? So I'm just gonna leave you with that, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
What Jose said.
I just have a question as a resident, I'm sorry, I thought we
No,
were
no.
gonna go on that. So what happened with the cameras? They're not working at all? Because when we see situations, we can always refer to the videotape. And apparently they're not working at all.
Did you try to submit an incident report and they told you that wasn't working?
I haven't submitted anything,
Okay.
but it would be for the benefit of everybody if those cameras are on 24/7. That's why I'm trying to say.
Of course, yeah.
Especially with the scooters, and I want to go into Please.
Circle your top on. Of course, and of course, as an owner, I would say priority should be owners, for the use of the facility, other than people coming from other places. So,
Thank you.
On our way here, 3 of the 5 courts were produced by the tennis company. So, and that's something that in prime time, like, as people say, oh, tennis courts are always empty. If you go at 2 p.m., summertime, they're gonna be empty. So we have prime times in the morning and the afternoon. And basically, we have maybe 1 court. And if I want to play in that court, I'm there at 6 a.m. just to secure that I can play on that court. So, and then you have a lot of non-residents using the courts, and this is not adding the pickleball players. It's already a concern for us to play tennis because we don't have enough courts. And then on top of that, well, pickleball play is going to be a mess. And I think pickleball is more of a nuisance than tennis because of the trends and people are like raving about pickleball. And I think it's going to attract more non-residents than what we have right now and the problem we have right now. On top of that, I don't know if you have heard people playing pickleball, but the noise is pretty bad. The play next to them is pretty hard to play tennis with them next to us. And on top of that, if they use the courts close to Mirasol, I can only imagine the nightmare they're going to have with that noise. So I'm not opposed to pickleball, I love pickleball, but I think they should have There are ways to play pickleball and then everybody's happy.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thanks to you.
Does anyone else have any comments for owner comments?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about the Ogden Village situation. There's a couple of things that I just want to clarify, but I want to take a step back. On the website, there's a statement, Crow's goal of the homeowners association is to protect and preserve property values by promoting an enjoyable, safe, and community-oriented neighborhood. And you're familiar, there's the 5 cornerstones of celebration. One, a sense of community. More than anything else, what the residents of Celebration have in common is a shared vision for what life could be, with the ability to become as personally involved as they're on it, making it happen. This leads to a deep level of interaction between friends and neighbors that provides the very heartbeat of the community, whether in public spaces, like community events, town meetings, or simply in the neighborhood. We find an unmistakable sense of community and feeling of togetherness throughout Celebration. Memories and bonds of friendship that result in blue ensuring a bright moment. The last 2 years, we've had 6 Island Village homeowner get-togethers. 23 was approved by the board, last year by the rec committee. It was a very easy and quick process. I submitted this year's application on February 5th, and we're here at the end of May, and we have received no decision. For the first time, there is a neighbor who's here, who has publicly posted that we should not be able to continue these get-togethers. She's attended events over the last year, never complained that something has changed. It's a real shame that there are individuals who rather fracture our community rather than bring it together. We're simply requesting for 3 nights out of 365. We'll all set up cleanup, minimizing any cost for bringing matters. We support local businesses. Last year was Paso Pizza, Jersey Mike's, and Tacos Don Andres. They all appreciated our involvement. I've stated from day one that I believe every village should have this opportunity to have close neighbors, eat a safe and fun place. We are a homeowners association. Hopefully you have seen the pictures I sent to show the positive attendance we have had. The room has a limit of 80 guests. We have those kind of numbers in total. Some folks come and go there for hours. I hope that you will see the simplicity of our request. 3 nights out of 365, having neighbors meeting neighbors at an empty room is all we ask. Thank you, and yeah, thank you, John. Good luck. Thank you.
Anyone else? Good.
Thank you all for your comments and concerns. We will be going through these discussion items as well as action items tonight. But in order to get this started, we have to get a committee chair for 2025 to 2026. So like we kind of went around the room, half of our group is new, and we have 2 members that have been on the committee about 2 or 3 years. So if you guys want to make a motion to see who you would like as the chair, so we can get this meeting started. The chair will run these meetings. So we're just looking for someone who is interested in running.
That would be me. I would like to be considered.
Motion.
Okay. So we have a motion from Mike for Catherine. Does anybody want to second that motion?
Second.
Okay, so all in favor, you just say aye. If you're interested, if you're opposed.
Aye.
Okay, sure. So congratulations,
But
Catherine.
you know you're not responsible for the refreshments and the donuts.
Bring them on.
Yeah.
Lots of water for everyone else.
Thank you.
Grapes.
Right, Kat. And so next thing we have is the review the committee charter, the code of conduct. So if you want to kind of go over that.
Okay, do you want to just read it or?
We could read it, or you can have the group just read it if there's any concerns. Every committee member has to sign this. It's the code of conduct for every committee that we have.
So everyone take a quick read. It's basically just saying we need to treat each other courteously and professionally. The language must be pleasant and treat each other well. But just be looking hard to it.
Yeah.
On this one,
Yeah, I was gonna say, where are we supposed to sign?
on the very long line.
The very long one?
Everybody has to.
On the other committee,
Oh, for conference?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So just it wasn't a requirement, so.
Okay.
I can start.
Yeah.
Don't want to sign the new member, so maybe I'll. You're coming, that other, everyone else is there.
Well, I know for sure every committee can.
We had it reviewed as a.
Yes.
It's a committee, so I want to do it. Okay.
That one's.
We can see. I'll think about it. Maybe, there's a lot of people that are texting to say they're trying to get in, but they can't.
Into the meeting.
Yeah.
I don't have.
Just, oh no, I'm scanning, oh, anything I sign.
Okay.
Understandable.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yes, anything I sign. Right, thank you.
It's also going to go on,
Oh, no, yeah, more.
Declared.
That means. Oh, it's Dora who's got those, sorry.
Maybe they want to go to the office.
Oh, could be, yeah. Okay, so the next thing that we have on the item, or the agenda, is scheduling our monthly meetings. Does Thursdays work? What days work best? Because I know Thursdays, we also have meetings, Mondays. What's a good day that works best for everybody?
Tuesdays
Love
would
to
work.
schedule.
Tuesdays.
is there really good base monthlies and Tuesdays?
Tuesday evenings, I have my daughter's soccer.
Okay, yeah.
Thursdays too.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, Thursdays is.
So Thursday's good, it's just not the
It's not the
third.
third Thursday.
Yeah, I got you.
Always the third Thursday.
I got you,
So-
okay.
Oh,
Are you good?
Thursdays for me.
So do you guys like the fourth Thursday?
Yeah, as long as it's not.
I think the fourth Thursday is the PTA meeting at high school.
Okay, the second Thursday.
Is the second.
Second Thursday, is that okay?
Second Wednesday.
I think that second is for the K and the fourth is for the high school. I'm not sure. It's the fourth
I
Thursday.
believe it's the fourth.
And the K8 is the second Thursday.
Are you on all of them?
Yeah.
First.
The first Thursday? Is the first Thursday work for
Yeah.
everybody? Okay.
Even if there's a holiday.
Yeah, so we'll plan for the first Thursday and I'll send you all a calendar invite. So that way you know how to plan appropriately.
Perfect, thank you.
And to for 6.
6 to 8:30.
You can also call in too.
Yeah.
Yes. From that, you just call.
Yep, you could join online as well as
I
call.
have my son's soccer
I
too.
have a pancake celebration all summer long. So I'll stay in the school.
Good idea.
Oh, that's smart. Right. Catherine, do you want to go over the next topic, which is what?
The Lot D discussion, I don't have too much about.
Okay, so I'll.
Yeah.
Lot D is.
No, you're good. Okay, sorry. So the next topic that we have is the Lot D tree discussion.
Oh, yes.
Have you
Okay.
all been to the athletic complex yet, where we do like the egg hunts? It's right past the dog park, CCDD. There's a big open lot. There's about, I believe, about like 8 to 10 trees on the lot. We utilize that as a parking lot for our events. When we're parking cars, it's a little bit difficult, bobbing and weaving through these trees. As well as the athletic field, we have two grass fields, 1 synthetic turf. When we do projects on the field, it eliminates 1 field, so we only have 2 fields playable for our soccer, lacrosse teams, etc. So we wanted to see how the committee felt, if we can discuss potentially removing the trees, so you can use Lot D as a temporary field while 1 field's down, and this will also help with parking. The first thing that came into my mind about this was safety. Parks and Rec, we are all about safety. So in order to make a field, I've seen videos recently of people driving their cars on soccer fields, and I would never want that to happen here. So if this plan were to happen, we would need to make some kind of bollard system. So if someone were to drive in or whatnot, it's at least hitting a barrier before it's hitting the actual playing field.
I think it sounds like a great idea.
Is there any issues about,
That's the lot closest to the field, right, where we park.
yeah, the grass lot, yeah?
Yeah, those trees are.
Is there any irrigation or anything that runs under there?
No, there's no irrigation.
Motion is that the issue is that we cut the trees.
It's a motion to make a recommendation for us to move forward with reviewing this project.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions?
So that would be included within quotes for cost and.
Correct, yes, yeah.
And knowing how many other trees appear to be
Yes.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that lot's bad.
Yes.
Needing to be
Yeah.
reviewed. Okay, so master tree.
Recommendation to make a study, so to speak.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like we continue into that kind of like wood area with the tiles and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you all for that. Next item is tennis court backboard. James,
All right.
if you want to come up to the table, my
Oh.
friend.
I'm glad I got dressed up for this. Just up here?
Yes, you can come on up here, because I know
Yeah.
this was.
Thanks, Nikki and Christian. So, yeah, I just, you want me just to freestyle it or just
Yeah,
say, okay?
Yeah, you
Hey, everybody. Hey, neighbors, how you doing? Yeah, I'm a tennis player and I'm just really hoping for Christmas this year to get a tennis backboard. I hope it's not too much to ask. For the person who said it's hard to find a partner at 2 in the afternoon, I agree 100%. And I think it's just a great training tool. I spend a lot of time on the tennis courts as much as my body can handle it. It's a great learning tool and yeah, and I just think it's great. Anybody who has any questions or misgivings about it, let me know. If it's a great way to learn, I spend a lot of time there. Like you guys said, the courts are full a lot of times, so I'm up there early in the morning too. It's just a great way to warm up. I've been hitting against the little fence a little bit with sponge balls, and it's not quite as much. But yeah, I just humbly hope that I think it would be not a nuisance, and I hope it would be a good thing. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Yeah.
Quick question. When you hit,
Yeah.
how's the sound hitting the ball against the wall?
I'm a little worried about that too. The ball that I used, it may be, balls that I would be using in the morning. I know that they're just training balls,
For those in the back, is that a cost of it up there?
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
So, James found 2 different quotes. So the first one here is $5,869. James, it's the actual.
That's just the backboard, yeah.
So.
Can we close the?
We have priorities. Before that, we need to close
The courts.
the courts. We need a canopy between court 1 and 2. We don't have anything for the sun and the heat. There are so many things.
No, I know what you're talking about getting closed in, because I know, like, I bring my young daughter up to the tennis courts at night in the dark, and there's people on the courts, and it's like, the time is ticking, and I'm like, I feel bad. It's like, you want to ask them, say, I'm sorry to ask this, but are you a resident? And if you're not, can I go out of here? So I understand your point. I hope you, yeah.
You also got lights that have been burned out on the courts that haven't been replaced forever, and deep divots from people running e-bikes over the courts that ruin the surface of the courts. The nets are in bad repair. There should be scoreboards on the side that can be used. I think there would be a lot of priorities.
Just give you guys. So if you see that if there's something the town needs or desires, you can come up, contact us, like James did, and you can present. This is just a recommendation. That doesn't mean what he gets is going to. So do you feel like you need a canopy? No. I would say, so we can do that, so.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, I really did.
Sorry, don't worry. So this is how we can do it. Now, this is just recommendation, doesn't mean that they're gonna say yes or no, so, but we can always fix it. Yeah, no, I understand, but just like, we can do it, so, it's just recommendation.
We can discuss it amongst the committee.
Yes.
Do you have any cost to put it in, and then what type of material is it as far as longevity or maintaining, because there's sort of some.
I agree with all that. Yeah, I mean, I can look around a little bit more. Like, I think it's sort of like the kind of, you get what you pay for, the higher for the quality. I mean, I agree with you, because the sun here is going to be tough on something like that. I guess you have to do a little research on that. The installation would be, as far as I understand it, would be beyond this, so.
I could have said that, lack of knowledge asking.
No, and I'm sorry if I didn't include any of that. I was trying to,
Is that outside of a court? Was that the places somewhere?
I think we were in discussion of court 3 potentially. However, this was just a discussion to bring to the committee. It seems like we still need to do a few more steps.
sure.
But I just wanted to make sure that James' voice was heard.
If anyone has concerns, recommendations, requests, please put them in writing, submit them to Nikki, and we can discuss them at the meeting. I mean, obviously, some things way bigger than others. Lights are more important in some instances. But if we're unaware of the situation, we can't do anything about it. So if you submit it, then we can talk about it. Endlessly, if you'd like.
So we'll.
I'll follow up with you. Yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Nice to see you all. Get home to see my little, thank you very much for the time. I really appreciate it. Pardon, yeah.
We'll receive more information from James. Get his exact number with the
Lights first.
Thank you.
So we may need to revisit. My folks in the back that have concerns with tennis. No, you're good. No. I'll work with the committee on figuring out a date for a workshop, because tennis is a very passionate one. So we'll talk about tennis, which I'm a fan of, so that'll be my next tattoo on my arm is tennis. But I want to go over your concerns with maintenance, the lights, everything that you all need. We're going to have a workshop on that, okay? So I want to make sure your voices are heard.
Yeah, could we also ask James to get some sort of evidence of how many people want this besides him?
Yeah.
Like, if he could get some.
I mean, I really think, like, just by the fact of the noise, and the fact that there's so many more things to address, I think this is something that should be tabled until we get every other concern resolved.
I agree.
I'm telling you, those are noisy. I've seen it before. It's expensive.
Everybody will have it. He has, but do everybody have it?
And you're taking away one port. One person take away one port.
Is there like a multi-year?
I'm sorry, could everybody keep the back conversation, just a little more?
Sorry,
So
Stephanie.
is there, and I know, new to this, read through the last 2 years trying to get up to speed, but is there like a multi-year, or it seems to be a really active part of our community? We don't have enough courts, or if we're looking at other places where we could then add something like this to a place that's not
Yeah,
around
so this has
residents.
been a discussion for about 3 years since I got
Probably
here.
the biggest
Maybe
discussion.
we,
You know, times and schedules and removing things.
Yeah, I mean, the backboard doesn't have to necessarily be at the tennis court. We can revisit
Yeah.
another location in town for sure.
yeah, but if there's come up with a multi-year approach, with like the small improvements and then.
Those
Yes,
things
and
there
that
only
the
work,
workshop will be about.
those backboards only work when you have abundance of courts.
Yes.
The one we have, that'll never work, because you're gonna lose one court just by using it.
Yeah.
And it's expensive, yeah.
Every kid's gonna, it's across
Oh,
the town
oh,
thing, like.
forget it, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, all right.
Could be used multi-purpose, so. Okay, so the next discussion is the homeowners initiative events and amenity center discussion. So this was brought up at the board meeting, mostly for the meet and greet discussion. So as a committee, it got brought to our level to see whether or not we want to allow homeowners to initiate these events using the amenities for free, or to have it go through like CROA, like management run events. So my only concern is we can allow villages to do their own pop-ups and events, but what stops, I'm just gonna pick on you, Mike, because I've known you the longest. You're over at North Village, I used to be there too, Longview. What if we get along and we're not friends anymore, and you try to do a meet and greet, right, or a pop-up, but it's for your son's birthday? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's just our concern about, we need to learn, we need to figure out how to funnel this correctly if we're doing something like this. But I wanted to bring it to the committee to see, first off, what do you consider a resident? And secondly, how you want these events to be run moving forward, whether it's in the amenities, just utilized for the indoor, outdoor facility rentals, et cetera.
Well, I feel like that's probably one of the newer people. I've only been here for even Celebration for 5 years, but one of the first things I did when I had rented and then we buying, one of the first things I did was go down and get my decal and get my ID, and you meet the criteria to have that, I would think you're considered a resident.
I think the argument also too is how much, trying to boil it down to nothing is how much skin you have in the game. Then you get into house prices, which also is how much do you have invested in this community. So I don't necessarily think that renter versus homeowner is different from that standpoint.
So if you live here, you're a resident.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as plain and simple as that.
I do agree on that, and I have to say, I have seen the amenities from North Village used by people that they are doing their own thing, and we even went and asked if this is for Celebration residents, and they all got mad, but they left, so that means they were not residents at all. So I think there should be a criteria to begin with, and then after that, trying to do a process to make things a little bit more controlled within.
I believe we're gonna be having a workshop just to address that issue.
And define
exclusives, apart from Island Village issue, for everyone. The amount of people, whether you have to register or you have to rent it. I believe we're gonna have a workshop.
Thank you very much. I will supply the water.
So the question is, if I'm on a mute and I wanna make a party and I wanna use a pro facility to do that, meet and greet, that's what the question really is, right? To use a facility to make together.
So I guess I asked multiple questions. So I guess the first one is, what is considered a resident to you all as a committee?
A renter is a resident.
Yeah.
That's by law.
Rent's higher.
Yeah, if they're paying rent here, but a renter is a resident, that's 100%.
Okay, so a resident is someone who could get a valid pro ID if they're in good standing.
Yeah, I think Crow ID is an easy to marker.
Yeah. So, okay, so we start there, so we know who a resident is. Do we want to have a resident initiate an event, or is that considered a private function?
If it's a Crow facilities,
Yeah.
just absolutely. If it's on your block and you have it out there in the street, that's
Like
what
the
it is.
porch with the lemonade and.
The lights.
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, that's like coming to
Or
like
just actually using a physical living.
this room.
Using a facility, yeah, like this room.
Right.
So I just want to make sure,
Also, there's the cleanup, are people drinking, and you fill out all that form. I know I had my daughter's birthday recently at Heritage Hall, and, you know,
Takes
everyone
a-
show up, and I'm like, oh, you didn't have drinks. No, this is, part of what I signed was that this was the liability, and it was on me, and this is what we were comfortable with, so. I feel like it shouldn't.
Question, what differentiates the difference between just a meet and greet and a collective to let's hang out and all stand?
so as far
That's
as.
kind of spontaneous.
It is, but you can just be like, hey, let's all get together on Saturday and talk, as opposed to let's.
Well,
But you're using a pro facility, so you're renting, you have to make a reservation to do that, so it can't be
this
spontaneous.
is just saying,
It's a
hey, let's
reservation
all get
because it's
together and hang
inside.
out.
Oh, so
Versus
it's
outside.
differentiate inside the, okay.
Yes,
I didn't know if
sorry
there
about
were
Yeah,
parts.
inside
Or a
buildings.
pavilion or
different.
something.
So yeah, let's talk about indoor.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
I understand what you're saying, pavilion, absolutely. If you're a resident and you have enough
Yeah.
pro IDs, you can use any outdoor facility. I mean, we're not gonna
But other
stop.
people have access to those.
They-
During the party.
That was my differentiator.
During the party.
Like a pavilion or something.
Well, I
So,
will say too, whenever I've had that situation before, I do property management and I rented out my clubhouse to residents to do a birthday party, whatever. And what happens is there's always the friend of the friend who gets there, hurts himself, breaks something.
Yes.
How do you enforce that? You know, even though I rented it, even though you live there, it definitely has to go through as like a schedule,
Yes,
like every other kind of group.
I mean, the issue here is they don't want to pay the $250, right? That's the central issue, is they don't think they should have to pay it. I would be amenable to not paying if it's open to everyone with a pro ID, as long as they pay the
I
cleaning
have to
fee.
deposit.
The cleaning fee, and then they show their insurance like everybody else, and we had a reduced fee. I think that would be fine if it's open to everybody. If it's not open to everybody, I think that's pretty cut and dry that. Then it's a private event.
okay, so if it's an event that's open to all residents, we should not be charging.
Just a cleaning fee.
Just a cleaning fee.
You could, I mean, I think that, I don't know if other people are
Some
there.
liability concerns, right?
Well, we had this discussion last, is the.
Someone's gotta put up insurance probably, yeah.
Well, no, what you do to really limit it is just to charge a hefty deposit. If you're gonna do right, money comes back.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do wrong, then you're gonna lose your deposit. I mean, because we had that problem with the heritage party, with the birthday parties, right? I mean, I'm talking about the pool, like little benches there. And, people were complaining that it was all messy, left over, whatever, So if you charge a deposit that big, if, like I said, you were not gonna have issues. It's like renting an apartment, charge 3 times the deposit, the house is gonna come back immaculate. Right?
Yeah, I think someone was talking about, I don't know if this is an event or not, but someone had a book exchange or a book club. Like if someone wants to have a book exchange in this room and they're gonna put a deposit and they're opening it to everybody, I wouldn't be opposed to them not paying a fee if it's open to everybody.
So what's?
But it has to be open to everybody, I think, otherwise you gotta.
So you're saying it would be the type of event driven? You're having a book exchange, it's one thing. If you having some other event, it would be something
Yeah, I was gonna
else.
say, for example, like it's on the agenda, Pink on Parade. That's an open event that anyone could go to. So what stops, I think we have to be more detailed of who's considered renting versus who could get it complimentary, if we're talking about residents. Because I can say that, I mean, the superhero 5K uses Lakeside every September, the majority of them are residents. If they all get together, they can say, well, we can just use the space for free, right?
Got it, so that we are charging, because I didn't see that on the agenda, so we currently do charge them.
We
Yeah.
currently do charge organizations. So that's why we kind of just wanted to have this discussion. Do we want to allow like villages to have their own like complimentary time in the facilities? Or is that something that you want us as management to schedule? Sarah, I'm not picking on you, but you've been to my pop-ups before where we open up facilities. Is that something that you would maybe want to see more out of our team? We can open up a facility for you all, so you can utilize the amenity, right?
So we're saying you could just basically open up the room and be like, hey, it's
Well,
hangout
we
social
can-
time.
We can make like schedule things for the residents.
Is there that much demand for it?
You'd
Well,
be
we can put
surprised.
pop-ups.
We could have highlights.
I mean, is it like,
Like, as an example, I brought up to Nikki recently, I said, have we ever had a mom's night out? She's like, no, I'm like, I can figure something of activities to do, we'll have a mom's night out. And give it as a pop-up.
If
it's Crowa sponsored.
I like your resident, who's a resident, I think that's super fair, and, you might consider it for free. I certainly would focus, if alcohol will be served, I would absolutely be having, they don't get insurance waived, they have to, if people are gonna get boozed up and then drive away and get in an accident and sue the town of Celebration, that's not on us as the taxpayer to hold that.
Yeah, but you-
And I'd also consider how many, if I'm a Ballard resident and I want to use Heritage Hall, if I'm really clever, I mean, can I do that 10 times a year, or do you want to limit it to twice a year?
Yeah.
You make that jump.
No, that's a good one.
Playing devil's
Yeah, but
advocate
you
on that.
can, and to your point,
The person.
people would have to be.
Yeah, no, it's true.
It's out.
It's
You have the same problem.
I think our rates are very reasonable, like our rates, right, for renting the space as well, are very reasonable. For the quality of what you get, the amount of space you get. And
You're right.
this is, I'm struggling on the free, which I think, but in the sense of, I can understand it for like Superhero 5K or some of these nonprofit or other, I get it if they're probably paying us in other ways.
Yes.
Paying us out in other ways.
Yeah.
There's a give and take.
Yeah, there's something there. So that comes through a vote. It'll be a discussion, but might not charge them, but, because they'd be bringing in so many vendors and other things, but yeah. And then I saw the kids and adults on this, my brain went just like liability. For it. I love the idea of getting to know if you had things that highlighted, hey, come meet our village, but still, what if there are people who want to move over there? Like, people don't understand all the different villages, so it'd be nice to have a Portuguese village, but just to, I like it being posted with a target of like, hey, this month it'll be open, meet and greet, come and meet your neighbors from the village, or.
Is that something that we could, like, this might be a terrible idea, like, go through management of like, management hosts it? Is that a possibility to go down that avenue?
Yes.
I honestly, I think that would be the best way to do it.
I agree.
Because right now, I like everything cut and dry. Right now, there is no confusion on if you're gonna rent from us, there's a payment. Be a non-resident or resident, there's a payment. If we start going into, well, this one, we are gonna give him for free, this one, no, and then there's the question. But if management is involved, then we can say, if there's somebody from Island Village that wants to be the spokesperson, that's fine, but management is in charge. We say, yes, Mike, you can come in, you're acting up, you gotta go out. But we are in charge of that. I can't have Mike tell me this guy's acting up because you guys maybe you don't like it. So I think management is like.
You might have whoever's deciding.
But
It's just
if management is part of it, we are going to allow every resident in, because I agree. You have a Crow ID, you are a resident. You can go in there and get a Crow ID. You can go in that pool, you can go in that playground, you're a resident. Renter or a homeowner, you're a resident. So management, yes, if we are the one running it, we are allowing everyone here. You get, a spokesperson wants to get with us and say, hey, I would like to have an Island Village party, fine. You want us to help? Fine. This date.
Yeah.
And it'll be free, because our management is doing an open house.
Okay, I didn't know that was an option, that's great.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
we did.
that's something that we're always interested in adding more complimentary things for the community. So if that's something that you all have any ideas that we can help you out, just let us know.
So that's, so if someone wanted to do a book exchange or a sewing night, they would come and fly to you.
Yes.
Correct, yes.
It happens now. They contact us
You
for
make
any
an
kind of party.
application.
You guys get in charge of it, that's perfect, that just solves every problem, most problems.
But anything that's like free or complimentary will go through the committee, just to give you all a heads up.
Yeah.
So sometimes you'll see requests and it's like, what is that? That, there's a reason why it's going through the committee. Like private functions, they don't go through the committee because we already have a procedure, so. So Catherine, do you want to do a recommendation about what we discussed of?
Yeah, I'm not, still not remembering.
I know.
But I do believe, I would say I would like to make a recommendation that any event that is requested, regardless of the size, must go through CROA. And that fee, whether it's a security deposit, depending on the size of the event, I mean, I'm sure that can be worked out later on. But any event needs to go through CROA, and it is will be open to the entire community.
Okay, motion.
Second?
Second. And the fee.
Vote.
And for what? I'm sorry.
Aye.
Sorry, that was a long.
So the next one's already know, it's just a different version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also pink parade.
Okay.
Well, we didn't address that.
Yes.
I wasn't clear.
Just a moment, just a
Will they
moment.
be free?
Just a moment, no. Who seconded that motion?
It was
Mike
Thank you. And some will be free and some will not. It'll
Based
depend on the
on
event,
whether they're a resident?
but if it's open to a resident, some events could be free, some events might have a small charge on it. It'll depend, like certain events that went on in the past, there was a small thing. I think, was the ornaments, was that free or?
that was free.
Okay. So potentially all free, if it's sponsored. And likely not alcohol.
Yeah, with our events or private functions, they all have to get liability insurance, liquor policy, all that, in order to even bring alcohol. That's one of like the first questions that Danny will ask is, okay, yeah, we all fit for that.
So if I want to open something to the public, to all residents, it's not clear that I can do that and get a fee waiver for everything.
So what you can do is, if you're like, hey, Nikki, I want to do this, you'll have to go through the committee, and then we'll just make sure that it's okay before we can open it up to the community.
And I would assume they just have to put in an application.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Like an
just-
application, if you just put in an application, just describe what it is, what you want to do, and we, bless you, and we'll discuss it. And you can request fees to be waived, or we might say yes, we might say no.
So it'll just be whether you like me more than the next.
It's not nice.
Yes, that's exactly.
Claire did it all. Again, I was gonna say.
Would it be a bottle of wine and
It's gonna be best friends.
Bring some alcohol.
It will be further discussed in our one too.
Okay. With that being said, we are on number 7. So this was the meet and greet request for the application. Let's do it 3 times a year. So as a committee, what would you like to recommend after we?
My personal feeling is, I think all the residents, renters and owners in Island Village will be able to attend this. As far as waiving the fee, I'm a little, we can't, I know we've done it in the past, but if we make this exception, then we'll have to make exceptions for other things as well. I think CROA should have a hand in it. If someone wants to say, hey, can I help out with it? I can help with this, I can help with that, that's cool. With the previous item and have it run sponsored through CROA.
Is the intent only Island Village residents?
For this thing, yes, but other villages, it has been discussed, other villages are able to have the same type of meet and greet for get to know their own immediate neighbors. I think that's nice. I know when I first moved in here, I really appreciated those meet and greets because I knew no one. I came from New York, I knew no one. And it was really a nice way. I might not have remembered everybody's face, name, but I knew their faces. And when you go out for a walk, you're like, hey, what's up? I haven't seen you in a while. And then you get to meet the people and you get to know your neighbors.
So Catherine, I'm going to interrupt you.
Sure.
So our previous discussion, we said that we would also suggest management host pop-ups. So it's
Yes.
for all residents. So this could basically be that it's a pop-up and it would go through management. We would host this.
All right, so then I guess we have to go by that same guideline for
Or-
them.
But it would highlight Island Village, like that's the, right, that would be, because that's how I would say a blending, of what we just discussed in this application, not connect free, highlight it with
Yes.
Island
I think
Village.
the only problem comes in with anybody's clubhouse is the amount of people. Especially in Island Village, and I mean this with all sincerity, we have 15 parking spaces. And
If there's a fee associated with it, it's a rental and you can.
It's a rental,
Yeah.
So if he pays the money, he can have his event and do whatever he wants as long as he's following the normal.
I think it should be up to whoever is the one signing to be the rental. If they want to make it to Island Village, they rent it. If they're okay with opening it up to everyone, I can see the,
Then
if
it's
it goes through
management,
management, I can understand that.
Okay.
That's my opinion on it.
As long as they're involved, I mean, yeah, you're right.
Right, so I
If
think
everybody
if
for
they're
free, or
involved-
you want to specifically gotta pay.
Because at the very minimum, someone has to open the clubhouse and close it and make sure it's clean. So that everybody all like us, yeah.
So you're saying we as residents are gonna support, are gonna pay for that? Or,
No,
they're gonna pay their own bill?
They're paying their own bill, yeah. So do you want to make a motion for that?
No, we already voted, did we vote on it?
it's a number.
If we voted on a policy and now we're voting on.
Yeah, I think if we, can we group those two items
So-
together?
So, yeah, you could basically say, if it's for all residents, it is complimentary, but it goes through management, so we can help advertise it for all. Or if it's for specific residents, it's considered a private function, and you have to pay.
Okay. 1 and 2?
Yeah, also.
Exactly.
Voting. Aye.
Aye.
Is there a club homeowners of Island Village, or is there like just like a club? Like, that's why I was reading this, is like, is it just?
Okay, no,
I don't think there's any entity or anything there.
Okay.
I
No,
think it's just,
Learn, yeah.
I don't think there's.
Artisan throws another curveball unusually.
Am I correct?
Did you say, is it just like the 250 or you don't have to worry about deposits or what?
It's through Crow,
Okay.
yeah, so no one's gonna be charged. Every.
It would be an open house. It would be like an Island Village open house versus. It's village rental service, yeah.
Okay, Pink on Parade. All right, so Pink on Parade, this one's in your packet. A little bit of history with this group. They've been doing this for years. They only ask for donation of tables, tents, and chairs from CROA. Previous years, they got approved for their fees to be waived, but we were considered a sponsor. So I put the sponsor packet that they just gave to me today, so I apologize, on the back of your application. So we would be considered a bronze sponsor, which includes logo on the website, on the shirt, event banner, logo in the race packet, and flyer giveaway in the race packet. But they paid for staff time. So it took us, I'm gonna say it takes roughly maybe 4 hours for setup and breakdown. So it's not too big on staff, but you would be, if you approve this sponsorship request, it would be $1,000 that we would be waiving for tables, chairs, and tents.
Did they put liability insurance and stuff on file?
They do, this is actually on their property, so we're just setting up on their property and then we tear down the next.
So we just bring over chairs?
Yep, we just bring it over and then we pick it up the next day. We've done this previously throughout the years because it's more of it's a sponsorship thing to showcase celebration. So all of our logos are on their advertisement. So that's why we pushed this through before, because this is more of a sponsorship with the community.
I think it's a great idea. I think we should continue the procedure like we did in the past.
So I say, we know how long you've been partnering with them?
It's been as long as me, so probably about like 10 years.
So then, this is just routine. Yes.
Yeah. Any other questions about this application? If I could get a motion in a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Celebration Martial Arts Academy. Want to come on up?
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. How are you? My name is Trista. I'm managing over at Celebration Martial Arts Academy. We're introducing a summer camp. We just opened up in September of 2024. So this is our first year, but we would just like to request to use Lakeside Park, or I'm sorry, Lakeside Pool, Fridays from 11 to 1:30. We put in a request with the form, and if you have any questions.
So an hour and a half for 8 weeks.
Yes, running from June 2nd to August 8th.
Request for exclusive or just access?
Yes, just to have access.
Okay.
So we have, the Compress Church does their summer journey here,
Yeah.
and they use half of the pool. They pay us $25 an hour. The school, K-8, in Island Village, they did swim lessons at the pool. Celebration High School does swim lessons at the pool. Request, since the swim aquatic areas have been approved. I would just others highly approved instructors that are approved through. And we did not take the whole, have respect for the pools.
Okay, we're expecting 10 to 15 students, so it's going to be more designated. We're a martial arts, so we're learning, or they're teaching confidence, and they're learning, to be respectful of the space and while having fun. It's all about fun, but also keeping it together. So our staff, Coach Trevor, Coach Pavel, and we also have an assistant coach, James. He'll be there. I know Lexi, she's also going to be doing the yoga, so she might be back and forth. But we have all hands on deck, and we plan to keep them all in a designated space for safety.
What ages are this?
We're doing 7 to 14 years old. We wanted to make something available for some of those schools this year, so.
This might be a question for you for liability's sake. Is that be their own insurance policy?
Yes.
Yep, they'll provide us with a copy of their insurance. I was thinking out of the fairness, as management, we would recommend allowing them to go through until the committee, we discuss a policy about the amenity for the pool.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask about the
Is-
rate. if that-
Yeah,
how-
we normally don't have that,
Okay.
but I would love to have a workshop on this because, yes, residents continue to see this, what stops a resident saying, I want to rent a pool. So that's why I just want to have a discussion.
Yeah, a lot of, the line is going to be like, all the way, and we get to do it. You're gonna have to give people money to do it. So we have to be really cognizant of aware that everything that we approve for free is gonna be 10 people coming in, so.
You have to do it just, not maybe, it depends. As a black belt myself, the children listen. They are very obedient in credit school because it's not stood for. You're disrespectful, you're doing 100 push-ups.
We have a hardcore Russian coach, so.
He's really good, really good program.
The Hindi is their martial arts.
Yes.
We have the dates that it would be, and sure we have there's a full calendar of all the people on their phone.
Yes.
So people are just don't know that. You know what's going on.
We'll post it.
Yeah,
It usually is, all
Yeah.
events usually.
Yeah.
So do you set up like a lane rope and segment them off?
So we have 3 lap lanes. Those are for the lap swimmers. They'd be on the side that's open. So they would be swimming
It's like the swimming classes, right? Oh, the swimming classes are like this.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, we don't block this off residents. They can swim with the
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
It's not.
I'm just wondering if, I think if you just block, if you have the lap lanes and then you block them off too. that might be okay.
And like you mentioned, multiple camps like Compress,
Yeah.
the cyclones, we would make sure there's no, two of them are not here at the same time. So we would work around the hours. So it wouldn't be too packed.
Make a recommendation, accept this.
Motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. We'll be in touch. Thank you. Better sweat out of times.
Not far behind you, trust me.
Thank you. Thank you. So, tennis court discussion. Claire, now that you brought this up. So, Barbara is my point of contact at tennis. So the ladies play twice a week. I think it's Mondays and Thursdays, 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. The summer months, June through August, due to the weather, they're requesting to play from 7 to 9 a.m. So as a committee, we just need to hear a recommendation, approval, or denial to see if you're okay for 3 months for them to push their time.
How does this impact the scheduled times?
Well, it goes from 8:30 when they're supposed to be there down to 7 a.m. So there's
Do
gonna
we
be
have
two
that
courts.
crossover, 8:30 to 9 or?
So it would be, the new time would be 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. They play 2 hours a day. Their time that I received was 8:30 a.m. and at 10:30 a.m. So they want to push their time back because of the weather.
Do they use all the courts?
Court 1 and 2, all the way by Marisol. So it'd be 2 courts.
We have 5 courts,
We have 5 courts, yeah.
and then the other 3 courts are.
It would
Do
be,
you reserve them, or?
well, technically, you can't reserve them, and you could say open play, but Darren does have classes out there, Advantage
So
Tennis.
that's advantage tennis. So then essentially, so how many courts is he using at the same time? Is it?
So he's allowed 2 courts at all times, with the exception of Tuesdays and Thursday evenings, he can have 3 courts. So there's no guarantee, there may be only 1 court available, you know what I mean? However, I know the ladies at men's open play, you all bring a good amount of people, so I do like the clubs, because I'm afraid if we ever got rid of them, there would be more of a line. You build friendships and bonds with those clubs, so I don't want to exclude the club, but as far as temporary, I know I have a lot of tennis players here, as far as summertime, how bad is it in the morning between 7 and 9 a.m.? Is it crowded?
Normally, we have like from 8 to 12 players.
Okay.
But again, some of our players, they are in their 70s. So for them, it's extremely hard to play right now. So.
Just for the ladies tennis or?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So we're just basically trying to push the time, not the hours.
Yeah.
So I had this discussion last year, remember? when there was-
Yes, I did.
So the only complaint was, people from Mirasol were complaining that people were showing up too early and making noise, but then you're right, to that point, Dora's point, that it's 90 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning, you cannot hold up, so I think we said last year.
There were 2 people a year ago that were playing.
Yeah.
7 a.m. And this guy never came back to the course.
Also, like 9, 7 a.m.
Yeah. I feel like we should-
Well, the main argument was last year that you knew when you moved into that apartment that your tennis court's next to you, so that right there was what we voted on, so yeah, I think it's.
County ordinance, you can talk about it.
Yeah, so 7 a.m. I think is great.
Is there a request to move this permanently? No.
Just for the summer.
It was a temporary.
I think that's on the table, sorry. I was expressing that I think it's good year-round to start earlier, and I would suggest if there's any concern from your side about noise, we want to be respectful of that. I mean, that's a bummer to have loud noise early in the morning, so do a noise check and make sure everybody's being respectful.
There wasn't, to be honest.
We'll have to investigate that, because last year, I myself went at all hours of the day, I reworked the entire schedule to push it back to 7 and 7:30, and there was a lot of people who are unhappy with that.
Oh.
But that was on a friendly basis. We can look at it, but I personally don't think there's any problem for the 3 months.
So as far as this, what if we do it as a trial for 3 months?
Yes.
And then we'll revisit back in July with the committee to see if we do it fully.
It's a perfect.
Okay.
Are they all residents in the league or is it open to non-residents?
What was the Ladies Tennis Club mostly, isn't it?
Yeah, mostly
Ladies Tennis Club.
I think for people who are not in the club, they only have one court available. In summertime, there's a lot of smokers. So I there may be one court to be used as 7, and then 2 courts for other people who want to play at 7. So that way you're not taking 2 out of 3 hours.
But they already do utilize the 2 courts,
I'm not
right?
sure about that, Monica, because if we have more than 4 players, the group, how are we gonna be?
Yeah, but other people, like,
Okay,
are residents.
we understand everyone, but this amount of comments have never been done before.
Yeah.
I understand it's a hot topic, but as it stands right now, ladies tennis does use the 2 courts. This is just merely asking for the time to be pushed back.
Yes.
So we're not even considering
Yes.
taking a court away from them. It's 2 courts, different time, just like it has
Yes.
been.
Okay,
That's the way it
just
is.
that idea, because if they.
That could be
push it
possibly-
30.
That it's just merely changing the time.
Okay.
So, we're good?
Motion to.
Resolution to change the time
Thank you.
for the ladies, okay.
So 7 o'clock, 7 to 7:30.
Yep, 7 to 9, starting June 1st.
Thank you very much.
I'll second. No,
Then from June to-
Second,
I'll second.
everybody in favor?
Okay.
All right, next or last item is temporary pickleball location. Marco, want to sit up at the table, my friend?
First of all, thank you so much for opening this meeting for open comments. It should be a quite direct meeting, not a workshop, so thank you for allowing us to talk. I have a massive emails and text message about the pickleball, because Georgetown don't allow the pickleball to play over there anymore. So they are facing issues about the finding a location. They are playing some in the grocery yard, something like that, close to the 192. Some of them are going to Kissimmee. The request is to find a place to play. I know the tennis court is hard. One of the opinions that we have is to talk to Darren, and he can create like a program. We can pay whatever he is charging to teach pickleball or whatever, open the courts, 1 court, 2 courts, I don't know. Just to keep in mind that 1 court of tennis, you can make 4 pickleball courts. The recommendation that we are asking is where to play. The suggestion was the Northfield Pavilion when everything started, but the level that the residents are playing right now, I think it is a little bit a better place. About the master plan advisory group, we are moving forward very fast. We get the first approval on the meetings. I believe the RFP is out for the new courts. It's not only pickleball, it's multiple court. That means pickleball, futsal, volleyball, basketball, and everything. But you take at least 1 year to be done. So pickleball is asking a place to play. You don't need to decide right now. We can do in the workshop that Nick is proposing for us, but just to keep in mind and try to find a solution for them. It's, I believe, more than 40, 50 every single week, different people, but the group is 200 something or more, right? Pickleball group.
Well,
Depending on whether you count residents or non-residents.
most of them, they're not residents.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid that once you open 1 court for pickleball, they're gonna think that they can play in any.
So he's affirming that most
How
not
do you
residents,
stop
it's a good time to ask for the pickleball people to send the the roster with the residents or not.
Yeah.
I believe the majority is resident because everybody that every time that I was there, it's big majority is residents. So it's a big deal.
That's what I
To
find.
bring this to the.
As long as you pay for the annual fee, you can go into.
Okay, so we have, there's meetings to discuss something?
Yeah, this is not, yeah.
We're supposed to have the announcement on.
So folks, real quick, per management,
So again,
You
thank you
cannot-
so much for letting me talk about
Thank
this.
you.
Thank you, Mark.
Sorry, in the back.
Real quick, guys. Residents are non-residents. To use our facility, be basketball courts, be tennis court, you have to be a resident or a resident guest. So the folks you're talking about, if they got on and they're non-residents and we didn't catch them, that's one thing. But even if we build these courts, they show up, they're non-residents, they're getting kicked out, either by our guys or by Mayberry. But you have to be a resident or a guest or resident. One Crow ID at the moment, One Crow ID gets you 4 additional guests. That might change, but as of now, you want to use our courts. You be a guest, fine, but One Crow ID gets you 4 guests. That's it. So whatever is decided, that's what's going to come about. So they're non-residents, they will get caught unless they're guests. So just to give you a heads up. Anyway, so yes,
Sorry,
go
two
ahead.
questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good on, first, well, actually, my first one's gonna be more complicated. Second one, if in that scenario, you're in a club or you're taking a tennis lesson or you're using, but on like an ongoing basis, does that still work?
So that's a great question. With our contracts for our partner programs, 50% have to be Celebration residents. So their roster has to show 50%. That's as of right now, that could change with the committee. Darren's contract ends in 2026, by the way. So we'll be talking about the tennis contract at the end of this year, just to give everybody a heads up. As far as clubs, it's the same thing. 50% have to be residents.
First question then was, where is their home right now? Where is pickleball's?
Is that Georgetown?
But
It's not anymore.
But yeah,
Because they're not allowed to play there anymore.
Pickleball is not a.
Well, they're allowed to, they
Just
actually make company.
just neighbors
More
trying to
expensive.
find out how they should play. Georgetown is allowed to everybody, is or not, it's because it's Georgetown, it's not Crow.
Yes, their association.
So right now, they are coming to the board and sending emails to us to find a place. So I need to move it to recommend it, so you can decide where to play.
Why doesn't Georgetown want to play there?
Georgetown, they, I don't know what happened behind the scenes.
The residents were-
But they want to charge the pickleball people, I believe something around $80,000 per year to use the court.
Wow.
The problem wasn't that, the problem was that they had a lot of people, you know, I don't get website, it's a good league, but it was a lot of people. So they were trying-
It's not their problem, right? It's not their problem.
Yeah, well, it's Georgetown, right?
Right, if whoever was in Georgetown, but it's, it's the same problem we have. It's like if 95% of the people from not Celebration trying to use the tennis court, just,
Well, no, but those like, they could do it.
They allow that they were private.
That's their.
That's what I'm saying, like, for them, it was like 95% of the people
Yeah.
don't live there.
What you're doing now, to find other places, you're taking that same group and trying to find a facility. The only facility they can use is the tennis courts.
Yeah.
I was preparing you guys because it's coming.
It's a true statement though, because I think the magic thing about pickleball is, I mean, we have a gym in Ohio, they set it up on the weekends and they take off. So maybe there's a place, I thought it was very respectful the way you asked us, can you find us a place?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need the fencing like you need in tennis. You can set up your nets and mark it off. It could maybe even be a parking lot or something.
We can't do that in Grove City, we both.
Yeah. You gotta build a facility to have for pickleball.
But maybe there's some place that's open that you can set up some courts. I don't know. It's a great sport. I think we've missed the ball in that it became one of those popular things in America in the meantime. But I think Crow's idea was, well, this is kind of a fact.
Again, I respect all your comments, but in order to move the meeting along, keep to one person and to the committee at the moment. And although we appreciate your opinions, we can't have everybody in the audience respond.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, I think the other issue is
The name of people or not the name of locations.
one of the issues gonna be
Trying to
too.
help everybody out.
If you were able to do the tennis, let's say the tennis field in a perfect world, they have enough tennis courts. You can only have pickleball players playing, not tennis and pickleball, right? So the ideal thing would be to have the own facility for that, because it is a pretty big sport, it's, but it's a tough,
Paul, you had your hand raised. Would you like to make a comment?
Has anybody heard pickleball game?
Heard it?
It is loud.
Yes, it is. I'm playing my apple.
Yeah, so like, we have heard, I'm chairman of the dog park, and we had heard that they were going to put it by the dog park, that section B, whatever that is back there. Just beside dog park, that's not a good idea. We heard, put it where the trees you were talking about, put it there. He would not be happy with that. You gotta think where we're gonna put it. I understand the need for it, people want it, but really, it's gotta be looked into.
Absolutely.
Because if you think tennis is allowed,
well, the issue is that you have, let's say you were to build a pickleball facility, like what Marcus was talking about, a multi-use facility. You can't have 8 pickleball courts or 6 pickleball courts and then 1 basketball court in a community this big, right? You'd have to have a multi-use, right? Which could be done. The only real place to do that here would either be the Island Village is gonna have their opening or behind the library. No, I don't know any other place that. Yeah,
The community voted.
that's what again, exactly, the community voted against that.
Well, have you considered asking Manhattan Homes to build pickleball courts? Because I asked the rep and she told me maybe if they inviting us Manhattan Homes to build pickleball courts there, they might consider and that would.
That's part of the master, as far as I know, it's part of the master plan to install them, but obviously we need to know at this moment.
They
Not a
did
year down the
ask,
line.
they did ask Matt if that was a suggestion, they kind of like a wish list for phase 2. Looking at phase 2, I did not see any pickleball as of right now.
Okay.
So, we're kind of at the mercy of a developer. I understand the concerns of relocating residents to like a home, a temporary home. My concern as well is what stops someone else coming in here and changing the basketball court into something else.
Need to designate space.
Yeah, and I know we have 2 members that are clubs, like beach tennis and beach volleyball. We use one space, but now we're kind of having concerns with the nets, you know what I mean? I just am concerned that if we keep messing with the facilities that were meant for a specific sport and not a multi-purpose, we're gonna cause more issues in the long run.
It's called identity insecurity. I learned that. You make it one thing and now you're changing it and making it something else.
Is there any indoor space? I know, like, when we're heading into summer, we're trying to find something right now. Is there any indoor spaces, like it could be?
In celebration?
And like, does the high school, I don't know how we can.
Something we could definitely check with the high school, elementary, like the gymnasium. Was that any options, Marco, for them?
I'm waiting for next week because this week is pretty busy for the schools. I'm waiting to talk to Audrey Confessor, is the principal for Island Village. They have a huge and beautiful cover area over there that's used for the kids. I'm waiting for the kids to do soccer over there, so we can have the same space like 2 or 3 times during the summer. So it's gonna help us. But
that would be a temporary
this episode
measure,
within
wouldn't
10 days.
Is
That
there
would be
any,
a temporary measure, right?
Yes.
is there any?
I think people are allowed maybe for till the end of the year.
It's really hard to have the space at high school because we've been trying, like the boys at K8, they were trying to have their soccer playoffs and everything, and they were playing in Austin Tyndall because we didn't have fields here, and we asked for the high school fields for them to play because it was closer. They said that it wasn't possible.
Is there any like minimally used parking area that you can designate as a pickleball location? Not a temporary, like you pop it up when you want to, but just until we come to another thing or this is a 3-month trial basis, let's put it here. Is there anything like that that exists
The only spot I could think of is the athletic complex and that little parking lot, but I don't know how that will impact the
The parking lot
board.
can be a good idea if you can level the surface and have a nylon course like that, you can build and break down in 2 or 3 months. But I believe we can discuss this in a workshop, so it'll take longer in the meeting.
Okay.
And at that moment, I already will have the Audi confessor answer about the indoor and everything, so it will be helpful.
All right, so I make a recommendation that we postpone discussion on this item.
Are you talking about,
Workshop.
Marco, are you talking about under the awning where the basketball courts are outside?
In the Island Village School? Yes.
Outside?
Yes.
In the back?
I'm already volunteer there like 3 times a week doing soccer for the kids. And that area we use when it's raining. So maybe we can do it inside that area. I'm talking to the facility, I'm talking to the county right now, but I'm waiting first to have an answer for all the confirmation with the principal.
How about that piece of land that the CDD owns behind Island Village, that they were gonna put a baseball field on?
Yes.
That,
There's an easy.
After lot F.
no, it's behind Island Village, that piece of land that is parallel to I-4. They were gonna think about putting a baseball field down there in Island Village, and they stopped thinking about it.
Originally, the
I
school,
believe this should be close.
originally, the school was gonna be back
Yeah,
there.
they
But
gave it
there
up.
are gas lines back there, so that's why they didn't. So I don't see how they would authorize paving it over.
Well, the CDD owns it, so.
There's still gas lines for the community there.
But for a
We call it
short,
the gas line, we only can have lawn sports.
Lawn sports, okay.
but for a short-term temporary fix, can we designate a parking lot and say this is the pickleball spot, block off the space? Do the nylon square tiles or whatever it might be, that
Will that
it's,
involve liability and insurance and all of that?
It would from the group. The only spot I could think of that we open and close would be the athletic complex. So that way they can keep it down, we can cone it off with our traffic cones.
Claire, you had
That
a
night, we can just
suggestion?
close the gate.
I just wanted to ask whether anybody would approach Lexington and ask if some of these empty buildings or areas like Stetson in the center could be set up as well on a temporary basis.
So,
Yeah.
inside Stetson, I think that's where Campus Custom,
take that
they took up that whole, middle room.
we can also.
And not even inside, but isn't there sort of a courtyard?
Oh, outside, that's something we could definitely review, for sure.
You can do that, or because even if you rent it to them,
Yeah.
cheaper than Georgetown rate,
Yeah.
then Celebration benefits
Who's gonna rent
by
it?
some amount.
Who would
The
rent it?
pickleball club that's already
Yeah.
renting Georgetown. That is no longer willing to pay the high rate, so if there's a healthy compromise of this is what we're sitting at, it's in theory, a little bit of a win for us, low risk,
Of course, yeah.
so.
So we could definitely revisit, this discussion, we'll put it as a workshop agenda.
Thank you so much.
Sarah, you had a
I
comment?
just have one, I was thinking about the high school gym, I mean, it's a different example, I mean, but the Lakers rented it out for their games, so why can't?
I think in the past, we've had problems.
The issue,
High school
the
didn't
issue
wanna-
with Osceola facilities is that everything has to go through
The school district.
a small facilitron, which is their rental
To rent it
agency,
out,
right?
okay,
So now what happens, the high school now is limited any outside things like
Uh-huh.
that, unless you're paying full, but then you're talking about $150 an hour. Because by their safety issues and all that, you have to have an administrator on site whenever an activity goes on, the gym, the football
like
field, whatever.
school district person.
Yes, so they get paid their hourly, facilitron gets their cut, and you gotta pay for custodial. So
Okay.
this is, it's a whole.
Oh, so like Little League, okay. 'Cause
That's-
but that's cheaper than 80,000 or whatever the quote was for
Yeah, well,
Georgetown.
Since it's not able to be happening, let's make a recommendation to table this for a workshop so we can have a further discussion on the matter.
Motion.
So the last thing we have is, member comments. I just kind of want to pick your brain for a little bit, since we have plenty of time, of what you all want to see on the next agenda. I have a few things I want to mention to you all, but I want to hear what's something that you all want to discuss while you're on this committee. So if you want to go around the room, anybody want to start? Want to start, Paul?
Yeah, I think I kind of hinted a couple of, I would like to see more transparency as to, with these groups that are renting it, what is the breakdown? I think you said right now it has to be 50%. I don't know what the auditing on that is. I think that should be higher. And I think we should have more reporting, higher than 50%.
What would you be your recommendation?
I would say maybe 80. But I don't know. I mean, it's like, we have this tennis court problem. We have people, I guess, I think, how many people in the pickleball club? It's 200 or whatever. Maybe they're not all residents. Probably 100 of them are. They have no place to go. And it seems like, is it 2 of our 5 courts are permanently used by this private instructor who may or may not be instructing other non-residents 49% of the time to make money for himself? Like that's probably the easiest way to free up a tennis court, stuff like that. I think the martial arts group, I know a lot of people who use that, so I don't have a problem with them using the pool, but there's not, I guess maybe at some point we would audit them and see how many there is, but we don't really do a ton of diligence on like who's actually in these groups that are using the facilities.
Is martial arts considered or a partner program?
Part of our program, right? I think everybody who's using the facilities, I'm happy to have anybody using the facilities. I would be happy to pay for his backboard if we had space for it, if it was used by residents and residents had a demand for it. But I think right now we have a lot of people using our facilities who are maybe, who are not residents, who are making money off of it, who are, and a lot of people are driving in. But, again, if we do the martial arts, they show us that 90% of their kids are, Celebration residents. Let them use whatever facility they want. I don't really care what we charge them. But, as long as people are using it and happy and they're residents, that's sort of what I think is should be going.
Okay.
That's good.
Celia?
Well, I'm sorry, I missed most of the meeting, obviously. I think the workshop for the pickleball.
Yeah.
I didn't get to hear any of the discussion. I'll go back and listen to is this recorded?
It's recorded, ma'am.
Okay, go back, listen to La Tree discussion, the meet and greet facility request. Can you just tell me how
So basically, if it's open for all residents, it's gonna be complimentary and it's gonna be run through management. If there's only a certain percentage of residents allowed to go, it's considered a private event and they have to pay.
Right, so if it's gonna be, I just wanna know if it's gonna be open to all the residents, there's
notification, blast, it would come through management and post them.
But there's only.
Like, they have to sign up for it, just so we have an idea.
Like, there's only.
Oh, like you're saying like an RSVP?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying like, there's only 80 people.
No, that's what I was just saying, you have to sign up for it, so to speak.
Right.
So having 300 people
Yeah,
who are not
that's
gonna show
something we
up.
definitely do, yeah.
Yeah,
And it'd be complimentary, kind of like an event rate or whatever. No.
And then when it gets to the certain capacity, it gets cut out.
Yep, that's fine.
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Mike?
Okay, for me, it's 2 things. The first thing is we have to, like we talked about last year, with the residents and how many guests they can have per car. That's a big thing. I think that solves a lot of the problems too with the facilities. If you can limit that, then I think, to 2, which is like pretty commonplace, then I think it makes it a lot easier for us in terms of the record. The second thing is the pickleball. I think that's a big thing. I think we do need a multi-use court. Okay, I think having 1 basketball court here for this size of a community is crazy. We should have at least 2, especially if it's an adult league, men's league, where they can be pushed out to behind Lot D or Lot B, whatever, in the library. That would solve congestion here, and you can put all the adults over there and make it pickleball, make it basketball. I think that will alleviate a lot of issues too, because pickleball, it may not be all residents, but it is well run. And there's a lot of people in this community, I don't know how many, but really are passionate about it. And they'll argue that it's a new sport up and coming, blah, blah, blah. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of communities have pickleball. And it is a great sport, especially as you move up and you can't move anymore, it's really good. So,
Yoga.
Yeah. So that's what I'd like to discuss for.
And another point, we bring this money to the growth. The money that is going to bring pickleball outside here.
And many people are going from Celebration to the new facility.
Yeah, they're all weekend.
And easier to control, but anyway, yeah.
I'm looking forward to digging into everything. I like data, I saw ask a lot more.
Okay.
What are trends and consistency how many requests and what it looks like and ask. But really, I know access to the amenities, like we've talked about it, whether the cards are, they're really easy to use, how much. And looking forward to helping with some of the comms out on that, like, and seeing if, as we continue to build or add, what else, the beautiful tennis courts or pickleball courts probably should have card access.
Right.
You should have, looking where we can integrate technology, probably where.
Well, that's already in the works.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, it's hard though, if you're at Lakeside Playground and I have a daughter and people, if you try and tell them it's for residents only, get yelled at.
Yeah.
They can get
aggressively.
vicious
And
and aggressive.
and it's just hard, and this is the only playground like that. I know you still have it too, but it's just challenging, that's where.
Which you just brought up this playground, this can be on the next agenda item of a wish list. It's gonna go to this committee of you all picking a wish list of what you would like to see with this playground, because we're gonna, update this playground. So that'll be the next.
Okay, so it'll be like last time that we went. Okay, great.
Honestly, there's nothing that I'm specifically hoping to see over anything else.
Okay.
I genuinely just joined to try to be as impartial as I can and help. So.
Thank you.
Oh, we appreciate your
There's
time.
nothing that I'm hoping to promote or turn down at all.
Okay.
Sounds good. That's what we all hope for.
I think that the pickleball, it's really important for the community and facilities for sports in general. There are many new sports that you've seen people, the boys playing at the tennis court, and it's called foot tennis. So there are many boys playing it nowadays. They would like to use the courts and they do it when the courts are not being used. But they were kind of, people threaten them, recording them, saying, no, you cannot play this here. But the courts were not being used at all. And they were playing a sport. It's a different sport, I know. Probably not many people know about it.
Everything started from you sometime.
Yes, that's it. So I will make a request about this new sport and thing and bring, I can bring some pictures about it and show you how it works.
Yeah, that'd be.
But I think that if the kids are involved in sports, they are off the screen.
That's
much
true,
more.
that's true.
And
Our likes were.
Yeah. Another thing, I don't know if I can bring it in, but she said about the courts to get into the facilities. I would like to suggest another way.
Okay.
If
It's in the
possible.
works.
Okay.
It's in the works.
So that's it.
Okay, my suggestion is I would like, it's already kind of in place, registering parties. Not, if it's not a rentable space, I'll take as an example Island Village. We have had many baby reveals. We've had many large parties and it's overwhelming. If it's already, as I said, it's already basically in place, I think that they should have to call in, just say, we're gonna have a party of 15 kids, gonna be at the Island Village upper pool deck. Here's my name, here's my number. If there's a mess, I'm responsible.
There's a parent, like, in that.
Yes,
And there's a
and there's a parent, no, obviously. But if you wanna have your child's birthday party, and you wanna have 15 kids, as long as they're all within the resident requirements. There's been many times I go to the pool almost every morning. There's pizza boxes left from the night before. There's somebody's wine bottle left. There's, first of all, there's not supposed to be glass, but people are not cleaning up after themselves. And I do it for them. It's because I don't want to see this. Not just Island Village, it's Spring Lake. It's particularly Spring Park, that they're coming in huge parties from outside and they're leaving trash on the lawns, in the pools, etc.
And when they have the parties in Heritage, they open the doors and go out.
Yes, and that's, it's just not cool. Somebody needs to be held responsible for it. I understand a lot of things aren't rentable space. If you say, hey, I'm gonna be here, somebody can go check on it. Make sure the residents are within the requirements. Make sure they clean up.
maybe we could
Yes.
actually have a list of this is what's going on this
Yes.
Saturday. Here's what I
Yeah,
expect.
call it
So that's
to,
perfect. Danny actually started doing that.
yeah, call into town hall and say, here's what's going on around the village today. We'll check it out.
Any other comments?
I have one. I realized we picked the first Tuesday. Can we not do 4th of July week?
You know, it's funny, while
It's not 4th of July, it's the 3rd of July, but I know you guys.
Yes, I noticed too. So we will revisit July's date, but no, I saw that too, and I was like, oh, wait, no, that's not gonna work for us.
Well, is everybody okay with is everybody okay with July 5th, that Thursday, or is?
I'll be out of.
So July,
Oh,
June 5th.
Okay.
oh, June 5th, you're saying, correct?
No,
No,
you're referring
June
to
or
July.
July is the 4th, so
Yeah,
the
July.
4th is the Friday, so the 3rd
Oh, okay.
would be the Thursday night meeting.
Are these, I'm
I
sorry,
think
I
they're-
missed.
Oh,
Oh,
see
so
what
we
you're
said
saying.
the first
Just move it.
Thursday
Of
of
the month.
each month.
First Thursday.
That's what we're gonna try to go after, first Thursday.
Okay, so is there a
But-
date in that first short week or the week after that's good for everyone? Or that first
Thursday.
But yeah, if we could do maybe, July 10th, the second Tuesday, just for that one. Cause the first week of July, our team's gonna be all hands on deck.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good for that.
I will not be at the June meeting if it's gonna be on June 5th. I assume that's fine, but. if-
Yeah, either you can call in or,
I'll be with Diane.
June 5th, the country.
okay, so that's not gonna be good.
In June, I'll be here, but in July, I will be out of country too.
I guess we'll start in August.
Just 3 weeks in
What?
July.
Good. Okay, does June,
June 5th is only 2 weeks out, so maybe.
yeah, so maybe June 12th?
June 12th.
Is everybody good with June 12th?
Does June?
I can't do it. I'm out, yeah, no, I can't. I can do the 19th or I could do a
Yes.
different date if you need me, but if you have him, then maybe you can.
Yes,
Does June 12th work for you?
yes, I'll be back.
Would you be available? to-
No, I'll be there.
June, so June 12th?
Yeah, I can do
I think that would still be okay if we just had.
If we had a, yeah,
We'll
As
have
long as we have a
quorum.
quorum,
and then Colin, I'll let you know what we're talking about beforehand, so you can write your comments.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
When you say June 12th?
June 12th, July 10th.
Yeah, I'll be out of the country from June 2nd.
July I
to
can,
12th of April.
Oh, yeah,
online.
So if you could send it before that, otherwise,
It's good.
I got
I
it.
leave it
I'll be
at.
online.
Yeah, no worries.
I know I've been here an hour and I'm telling you.
Appreciate your. If there's no other comments, anyone else have any?
I want to say thank you so much. I'm very excited to work with you guys. It's beautiful names, hard workers, and a shout out for Parks and Rec employees. These guys are tireless.
They
Raining
are.
110 degrees over there. They're working hard.
I've been asleep this whole time, but.
We are blessed. We can disagree or agree with the management company, but we cannot disagree that Parks and Rec is awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, time to adjourn, sorry.
Motion to
Make a
adjourn?
motion to adjourn?
Adjourn, motion.
Mike?
And then Stephanie. Yep. Stephanie
Stephanie
second.
seconded it. Good.
Is there